But I'm thinking I could make this into a cool little spot. Okay, where to begin? I have had the grandiose idea of building a pond right here in the middle of the woods. And the cabin site is about 75 yards that way. It's probably 5 or 6 feet higher in elevation than where I'm standing right now. Hopefully you can see it behind me is a lower spot here at the off-grid property. The creek is probably 200 yards that way, and the landscape just kind of gently goes downhill towards that part. Now, about 50 yards on either side of the creek is a 100-year floodplain. And I can't remember all the statistics that go along with it, but it's like a 3% chance within 100 years that that part will flood. I have been over there. Right now it is March the 2nd, and things are still wet. They kind of stay just a little wet and damper down there, but right behind me, it may be a foot deep in some spots. Definitely 6 inches or so throughout this whole area. So this is a natural low spot here on the property, and I think it kind of goes up a foot or so on the other side of it, which is why it's kind of contained right here. And so I've been sitting at my house back in town just kind of dreaming about what this could look like. I'm thinking somewhere around 1/3 of an acre pond. That's not very big, but I don't want a very big pond. I want something that will hold some brim, some sunfish, and maybe some small bass. Just something that my kids can wet a hook in and get a little catch pretty easily with a rooster tail or beetle spin or something like that. So really just a recreation pond, and also in case of an emergency, as you know, I say I'm a 10% doomsday prepper, a source of protein for our family if we ever had to bug out and get out here. So what's going through my mind right now is, what would it take to get this built? And you know, when I'm not here, I'm not really like picturing everything in my mind perfectly. It looked much more open in my mind from what I could remember than looking at it right now. There's a lot more trees that I would have to dig up. And you know, there's some big ones, you know, several feet across. So I would definitely have to get an excavator. It would definitely have to be probably August, like when it's as dry as could be, so that I could get it down in here. Like I'm looking at this tree to my right, and I mean, this is 4.5 feet across the bottom. So there's some giant trees down in here. And right now I'm just thinking, how much is this gonna cost? Could I do it myself? And is it actually worth it? I know that if I dig down about 18 inches, I'm gonna hit clay. And so I'm not super worried about it holding water. Just the water that I can see sitting here looks about 1/4 of an acre. So I know that it's kind of primed, and I know this is a lower area. I would probably dig it down to about 6 or 8 feet in the middle, and then just have a gentle slope down to that. You really don't need a ton of depth, just enough to give the fish a place to go, in a place where there's some darkness, where there's not a crazy ton of algae blooming and stuff like that. I will say this, if I do this project, I will have plenty of firewood. Dang. There's a big eagle flying up over there. I don't know what it is. I never see eagles in West Tennessee, and then last week I've seen a couple of them. It's been super cool. I need to go, what I really need to do is go walking and see what's on the back side of this little area. So it definitely goes back a little bit further, being wet on this backside. But I think it might be more oval shaped than circular from what I originally thought. But I found this right here, and it looks like this would be a great spot for the overflow, naturally pulling the water away. Question for you, have you ever held up a balloon with helium with like a wish tied to the end of the string and let it go up into the sky? You ever wonder where it goes? I found one right here. I don't think I've been exactly at this spot. I've probably been within 50 yards of it, but I'm still exploring and trying to see all of my property. Seen plenty of deer tracks, not any rubs as of yet. Okay, well this looks a little bit bigger than 1/3 of an acre. I think this is 1/2 an acre. So the four-wheeler is right there. And I thought it was going to be kind of circular this way, but what I'm discovering is it's more like a kidney bean. Long, goes all the way over here, and then kind of cuts that way, and then back over. These are the trees that I cut down around the cabin site. And I drug them over here on the four-wheeler, so at the time, and this was maybe just a month or two ago, all this was dry enough for the four-wheeler to go over with no problem. Okay, I have walked around this wet area behind me and have a few thoughts kind of percolating in my head a little bit. All right, just when I think I'm done filming this video, I keep getting more ideas, and I had forgotten that I had brought my rangefinder. It has been in my truck for probably a year, and every time I come out here, I forget to pull it out and leave it out here. And so I spent the last 15 minutes kind of walking around the area and getting some shots to see the distance. It is about 50 yards wide by 60 yards wide. So I guess that's 300 yards, cubic yards. I'm going to convert that into acres and pop that up on the screen right now. And that'll give me the idea of where the water is sitting right now. That's not necessarily how big the pond's gonna be. It'll probably be smaller, but that'll give me at least an idea. And I'm recording this so I don't forget that it's 50 by 60 yards. So yeah, bigger than I thought, but cool. Just gotta wait for it to get dry, get down in here, and pay money to rent an excavator. I don't want to spend the money. I'll tell you what, I'll be stinking good by the time I get done with this project, that's for sure. You may be asking yourself, Justin, how do you do all of this stuff? And the answer is, I really don't know what I'm doing. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, I try and figure it out, but it's good to try hard things. Who wants to live an easy life, never risking anything? You know, failure is not necessarily a bad thing. It's proof that you're at least trying to do something that's beyond your abilities. So, yeah, plenty of ideas. Just the fact that I'm posting this to YouTube really helps hold me accountable to follow through. I'm not kidding. It's kind of like my weight loss video. It's like, all right, if I'm posting this, I better keep up with exercising and eating healthier. All right, I'm just rambling at this point. Let's get back to work.